Well, it is Heart Disease Month. As we all know, February is Heart Month. I have a beautiful Valentine's Day heart floating over here, and I was going to have it here just so you would be reminded that we all have hearts. We all need to take care of those hearts. And who better to start this class off is our friend, also known as the heart doctor, Dr. Akil Taher. I have asked Dr. Akil to please introduce himself, but I do want to tell you just a few things about him. I met him during COVID, and we met on LinkedIn, and a friendship formed. He had just written his book, Open Heart. So I hope you can see this. And it tells about his journey with heart disease.
Yep.
It was very, very moving. It was quite inspirational. And I promise you, it brought tears to my eyes on several occasions. The main thing that I want to say about this is it didn't happen when he was 30. It didn't happen when he was 40. It happened when he was 60. And he really transformed his life. And if he can transform his life at 60 or 61 years old, what can we do? Because some of us are not in our 60s yet. Some of us wish we were in our 60s.
That's right.
Or anymore.
And some of us lie about our age. Okay. So you can figure out what category you're in. But Dr. Akil Taher has been a friend. And I think ever since I started on Zoom, he has graced me with providing a class every February. So just to let you know what's going to happen, Dr. Akil is going to speak. And I'm not sure if he's presenting slides or if he's going to talk through it. After that, of course, we'll have Q&A. I would like you to type your questions in the chat box, and then we will ask Akil your question, okay? And we will get to those questions. After that, we're going to have a fabulous cooking demonstration, and then we're going to hear from Dr. Barnard. And after we hear from Dr. Barnard, we're going to take a quick little test, okay? I also want to remind everybody that it is very important to me because I have to teach so many people every year. And the only way they know that I have taught a class is if you complete a class survey. So tomorrow I will be sending you the class survey. You will be just taking this one class, and it's just very important that after that class that you complete that survey, okay? I'm providing these free, so I expect this is the only payment that you have to make is that you have to complete that survey, and it only takes 2 or 3 minutes, okay? So anyway, complete the survey tomorrow morning, please. I also want to mention that next month, I will be having another class. It will probably be on March 18th, the same day, Angel. And with that class, we are going to be doing brain health, okay? Power foods for the brain. So it really complements heart health. With all of that said, Dr. Akil, take it away.
Thank you, Debbie, for that kind and rather a very generous introduction. So let me tell you in a few lines that I am a practicing physician who lives in Atlanta, Georgia, and I believe in treating and preventing the root cause of diseases, especially chronic disease. I'm also a heart disease survivor, and I'm also a septuagenarian athlete at the age of 77. So, what I have to tell you first is that this is a Heart Health Month. So I want to wish all of you a very heart healthy life. And because being a Heart Health Month, I am giving a lot of talks on heart disease, which undoubtedly is a leading cause of death in the US and worldwide, both for men and women, for 100 plus years, killing more people than all the cancers combined. But what is the leading cause of heart disease? It is our food. It is what we put in our mouths. It is our diet. Now, with all the advancements in the treatment of high blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, which are all risk factors for heart disease, it still remains the number one killer. But what saddens me is the awareness amongst people is so low. Only 50% of men know that heart disease is the number one killer, and only 45% of the women. So we got to do something about this and spread the message around so that we can take care of this. Now, most of the heart diseases, let me tell you folks, begin silently in the youth and manifest in adulthood, like it did with me and like it did with a lot of other people. So if we go, let's talk a little bit about the heart. I mean, a healthy heart is it's a very resilient organ. You know, it is so resilient that it can withstand and recover from daily psychological stressors like mental, physical, and emotional stress. But the size of the heart is only your fist, size of your fist. And each day, this heart beats 100,000 times and pumps 2 gallons of oxygenated rich blood to every tissue and organ in your body through millions of miles of arteries. So, in a 70-year-old like I am, I'm 77, my heart has already beaten 2.5 to 3 billion times. So how do we protect this jewel lying in our chest cavity? These are by the coronary arteries. You have the right coronary, the left coronary, the circumflex. Now, this left anterior, where did my arrow go? Okay. This left anterior descending artery is called a widowmaker. Now, why not a widower maker? Because for the longest period of time, heart disease was taught to be a man's disease, not a woman's disease. This is what I was taught in medical school and was in all my textbooks. Now, the problem is that if you have this kind of a situation where you have women dying at the same rate as men that we found out in the late 1980s, then we realize that in 2020, we found 315,000 women dying of heart disease. That is 1 in every 5 women. And right now, also, every woman, in women who are above the age, 16% of women above the age of 20 already have some kind of coronary artery disease going on. So let's be fair enough and call it a widower maker also. Then we go on to understanding. So everybody should understand this and spread the word around. We have the coronary artery, which is lying right on top of the heart. It's a coronation of the heart. And it has, if you look at the cross section, you have the inner lining, which is the endothelium. This endothelium, trust me, produces a lot of nitric oxide, keeping your artery healthy, your artery dilated, your blood flowing smoothly, and protecting your arterial wall so it becomes supple and elastic and does not harden up to cause high blood pressure. Because high blood pressure is also a silent killer. And 40% of adults in the US have high blood pressure, and that is an underestimate because a lot of people are walking around having high blood pressure and not knowing about it. So, what happens? What really happens? What happened to me when I had a rich, unhealthy diet like there was no tomorrow? I was called a seafood eater. I had everything at sight. Look at the standard American diet: dairy, eggs, meat, carbonated sugar drinks. If you continue with this, with your bacon, in your fried chicken, in your donuts, in your burgers, in your cheeses, or for that matter, the Indian diet, don't think that the vegan, vegetarian Indian diet is great. No, it has got sugar, yogurt. We've got a cheese which is called paneer, which is worse than cheese. And then we have the ghee, the clarified butter. It increases your oxidized cholesterol 10 times more than regular oil. So, what happens when you eat all this junk? You damage your endothelial lining that I was talking about, which produces nitric oxide. So now you have all these bad actors in the shadows: your cholesterol, your fibrin, your calcium. They all come around here and start depositing plaques, thick, gooey stuff, which narrows the lumen of the artery. Now remember, this takes decades, years to form, and they're thick. So it narrows the lumen, reduces the blood flow, and when it reduces enough to cause chest pain, we doctors love to call it angina. Why do I tell you this? Because I want you to differentiate between this and a heart attack. I didn't have a heart attack. This takes decades to form, what I told you. And then what you find is new blood vessels start forming, the collaterals. This is your blockage. This is your collaterals going distally away from the blockage and supplying your supplying your heart with blood. So your collaterals keep the blood flowing. You're never devoid of total blood flow to your heart. So there is very, very little chance of getting a heart attack. This is where Esselstyn, Neil Bernard, this is where your Dean Ornish, this is where your whole food, plant-based, no oil, sugar, salt diet would work. But what happens? I need you to understand this. What happens when you have a heart attack? These are younger, soft clots, not the hard ones I showed you, the gooey stuff. These rupture suddenly and they form a clot, a moving clot, an emboli. They go and block a certain part of the heart. That part of the heart dies. Now you are a massive heart attack. 50% of the people die with the heart attack. So, what happens when this happens? Do you want me to tell the patients to go and have a carrot stick? No! This is an emergency. This is a total emergency. You run to the emergency room. They do your EKG, they do your blood works to find out your troponin levels. They find out that you're having a heart attack. They give you blood thinners. They take you to the cath lab. Boom, boom, boom. Your clots are removed. They put in stents. And if those fail, they do bypass surgery. What happened? My plaques were large, thick, calcium, unlikely to break. 98 to 99% blocked. I did not get a heart attack. And so I want to make a very bold statement. I keep making this statement so that people have options. Had I known then what I know and understand today, I would have looked for other options besides stents and surgery. Having said that, I would like to first of all tell you a little bit about my story. So let me tell you a little bit about my story. I'm 77 years old. My lifestyle is very challenging. I have a Wolff Parkinson White syndrome, that is an accessory pathway in my heart which causes rapid heartbeats. I have a lipoprotein A, which was recently a year back. I was diagnosed little LP little a. My mother and sister died at a very young age, 69, of succumbed to heart disease. My brother died at the age of 52 of a stroke. So my lifestyle was not too good either. I came to this country at the age of 40, pretty late, and I worked long, hard hours without paying attention to my health. I ate indiscriminately. All the things I showed you, I ate, even more. And so when I was not eating or when I was not uh, working hard, I would lie on the couch and use my hand muscles to hold the remote to change the TV channels. And that's all I did. I did not know the meaning of exercise. So it was no surprise that this all was a stressful situation for me. And therefore, I was not surprised when heart disease came knocking at a young age of 56, when I had to have stents. And during the stents, I had a cardiac arrest, and they had to shock me to get my heart beating again. That is not shocking. The shocking thing is the cardiologist who saved, brilliant guy, who saved my life that day. He died of a massive heart attack on his treadmill 2 years after he saved me, while exercising on his treadmill with a massive heart attack, and he was only 46 years old. I did not change my lifestyle after the stents, but here, uh, I thought medical science would carry me through, but here was a rub. I was a doctor and I was supposed to treat patients, not become one. So I started withdrawing from life. And that got me into a lot of problems of depression. And that got me more problems of sinuses and pneumonias and the infamous diverticulitis, which perforated twice. Twice I was admitted for 15, 20 days in the hospital. And just for a moment, picture this. My friend, the surgeon, telling me, Akil, if I don't take you right now and take out your colon, you may not survive. So again, I was not surprised when my stents failed and I went in for open heart surgery at the age of 61. I promised nurses that I would do a half marathon in a year's time. Well, they thought it was the anesthesia infusion talking, and they humored me. But my recovery was remarkable. I was on the treadmill on the very third day. And I started eating right, not plant based, but eating a little better. I started exercising to prepare for the half marathon. And in 7 months' time, I accomplished the half marathon. It took me 4 grueling hours, but I made it. My bruised heart helped me cross the finish line. From then on, there was no stopping. I've done a lot of things, but what I would like to tell people is that even though I changed my lifestyle and ate better, I would still be getting diseases like the diverticulitis, the sinus infection, the bronchitis. So, and I wondered why. So I started doing research. And I started doing research to figure out ways to heal the body without solely relying on medicines and invasive surgery. So I started reading books by, on lifestyle medicine by experts, researchers, medical doctors. And the more I read, the more I found that there was something here. And that is when I came across the 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine, nutrition being the cornerstone, nutrition being the conductor of the symphony, whereby the rest of the things like exercise, sleep, stress management, avoiding risky substances, and having a robust social support were complementary to nutrition. So, if we talk about this for a while, that if you are, what why heart disease remains the #1 killer of men and women? Due to a combination of factors, but the most important being your lifestyle. Your genetic and environmental factors do play a part. But a diet-related factors are what? Your high consumption of processed foods, coloring agents are there, preservatives are there, excessive saturated fats and trans fats. These are your vegetable oils chemically altered to stay solid at room temperature. Your high sodium intake. The, we take 3.5, average American 3.5 grams of salt a day. When the American Heart Association says 2.5, I say it should be less than even a gram. Refined carbohydrates and added sugars. We have to have, you need to have sugars which are found in raisins and dates, but not added processed sugars. An average American takes 16 teaspoonfuls of sugar a day. And if you talk about refined carbohydrates, think about it. You have slow glycemic and high glycemic foods. Your refined carbohydrates are your high glycemic foods. It releases the sugar fast, like your white bread. The rye bread is a little slower. Then the pumpernickel bread is way smaller. So you have a slow release of sugar in the blood. That is what we want. So again, we come across low fiber intake. Is one thing that I tell people yesterday when I was talking to the students, medical students, please increase your fiber. Insufficient omega-3 fatty acids, low antioxidant and phytonutrient intakes with cruciferous vegetables and green leafy and colorful vegetables, we don't take enough. Animal protein consumption, full of saturated fat, cholesterol, no fiber, and it can cause that TMAO, which is where the uh, gut bacteria act on the carnitine in your meat and convert it into TMAO, which can then form atherosclerotic plaque, which is an independent risk factors for heart disease. And sometimes when you cook animal proteins at a very high temperature, it can cause certain amines to cause cancer of the breast, colon, and other cancers. Now, dairy consumption. I think it was Rip Esselstyn who said this, that 1 cup of milk has the same saturated fat and cholesterol as an ounce of meat. Look at the hormones. Look at that protein casing. You can't digest. It is for the calf. It forms casomorphin, so we are stuck onto the cheese. We can't give up cheese. So, a few important facts that I would like to talk to you about nutritional consideration. Number one is as you grow older, your thirst centers don't work that well. So, hydrating fruits and veggies like celery, watermelon, cucumber is a must. Fiber, soluble and insoluble fiber. Because what fiber does is it improves gut bacteria, decreases your cholesterol, prevents constipation and complications of constipation like your diverticulitis, anal fissures. And then you have the protein. As you get older, your protein mass decreases. Don't run and get protein powders. What you need to do is it is not due to lack of protein. It is due to your hormones and inactivity. So all you need is muscle strengthening exercises. Calcium. Don't go in for 1 gram, 1.5 grams. This is what the dairy industry wants you to do. All you need is 600 to 700 milligrams. You can get it from your kale, your spinach, your nuts, uh, and enough of calcium. Magnesium, only if your blood pressure is not getting under control with all the medications and other things that you do. Vitamin D is a must. Go and check your vitamin D. Everybody go and check your vitamin D. During the COVID period, when I met Debbie Zimmerman at that time, my vitamin D level was 3. It was supposed to be 3 to 100, but mine was 3. All the people who are in nursing homes, even before the COVID, 60% have vitamin D deficiency. Vitamin D helps in skeletal health. It prevents you from getting osteoporosis, osteopenia, so that you don't break your bones and get hip fractures. Uh, just a sensible amount of being in the sun. Y'all are in Florida, in the sun, for 10 to 15 minutes for Caucasians, and people with my color, a little longer, 20, 25, 30 minutes. Gets you enough vitamin D, much better than taking supplement vitamin D. B12 must for everybody, even with vegetarian and vegans must, but older people, because of the multiple medications they take, the vitamin B12 is not absorbed. Don't think vitamin B12 is just anemia. It can cause nerve problems, subacute combined degeneration of the cord. That is your nerve problems if you don't have vitamin B12. And fats, you can get it in your walnuts, your omega-3s. That's all you need. Your others, your flax seeds, your chia seeds, and all can give you enough of that. So, probiotics, I love probiotics, man. Not the pill form. That study was done in Israel in the Weizmann Institute, where they found out that your food, your pills that you take, does no good for your diarrhea, for your antibiotics. It goes from one end and comes out from the other end. But non-dairy yogurts, kefir, pickles, kombucha, tempeh, all these are fantastic. And add spice to spice up your life: ginger, turmeric, garlic, cinnamon, black pepper, cloves. I love all those. How are we doing with time, my dear? Are we okay with time? Okay.
Yes, we are.
Okay, so here is your physical activity. Now, don't worry about performance activity unless you want to become an athlete. But general physical activity is a must. It improves your endorphin, increases your endorphins, fights infections, prevents you from getting stiff and rigid. And therefore, it burns calories. But this is good enough, like gardening or walking fast, briskly. That's your general physical activity. If you exercise for half an hour in the morning, don't then sit on the desk or on the couch. Please keep moving the whole day. That's what the blue zones people do in long life. So keep moving. Now, purposeful activity should be included if you want a particular health outcome. And what is that? Purposeful activity will, like your weekly physical activity, it can reduce your blood pressure, it can reduce your weight and risk of osteoporosis, dementia, and prevents and improves survival from certain different cancers. What do you mean by purposeful exercise? This is a 30-minute exercise that you got to do every single day, moderate intensity, whereby you increase your heart rate. Now, I used to tell people a year back that you got to increase your heart rate 70% of your maximum. Your heart is beating fast. for 30 minutes. No. Recent research says that out of that 30 minutes, even if you're 5 to 6 minutes, your heart rate increases. Not necessarily altogether. You can have 2 minutes, your heart rate increase, then you can go back on to exercising. But if you increase your heart rate for 5 or 6 minutes, that will do immensely good because it will not only increase your HDL, it'll improve your blood pressure, and in the long run, when you do purposeful exercise, it will get your heart rate. In the long run, it'll be a resting heart rate will be lower. People who exercise that way get their heart rate 65, 60s in the 60s. Also, when you exercise and your heart rate goes fast, and then you stop exercising and wait for it to get back to normal, correct? If it takes a long period of time for your heart to come back to normal when it is going fast, means you're not fit. You should be getting your heart rate coming back to normal in a faster time than the longer period of time. That's very important. So all these important things are there for purposeful exercise. Now, if you are talking about what kind of exercise, you have your endurance, biking, running, swimming, strength. Started in the shower. Your push-ups, your wall push-ups, your floor push-ups, carrying grocery bags, balance. As long as you can tie your shoes, standing up, your shoelaces, you're good enough. Standing on one leg, flexibility. You're stretching in yoga. This is the most important thing. If you go on YouTube, you will get me doing the sun salutation of how to do it with stretching. That should help. And then, of course, you have we don't, and then, of course, if you want to do exercises which are performance activity, then you're going to be someone like Olga Kotelko, who at 95 had 30 track records, 750 gold medals, and she didn't start until age 77. So we all got to think about it because you can do it. It's not that you can't. Most athletes can pick up the sports in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. They don't have to be athletes all their lives. I've just started pickleball, but I'm so bad at it that nobody wants to play with me. So the whole idea is, anyway, but having said that, we go on to sleep. It is your non-negotiable biological necessity. And you ask people, what is sleep? They'll tell you, oh, when I'm not awake, I'm asleep. Wrong. Sleep is an active state of rest. The brain is extremely active and has an impact on your learning, your memory, and your immune system. Most adults require 7 to 9 hours of sleep in alignment with their natural circadian rhythm. Sleeping less than 6 hours routinely increase risk of cancers, Alzheimer's, heart attacks, strokes, psychiatric conditions, depression, suicide, anxiety. Now, remember, sleep is a must. What we learned is that learning and memory, we know for about 10 to 20 years that you need sleep after learning. After memorizing something, you need sleep to keep those memories and you don't forget. But very recently, we have discovered that you need sleep before learning to actually prepare your brain to learn new memories. Now, had I known this when I was a medical student, because a hypothesis that the all-nighters that we were doing is wrong. You don't have to stay up all night. If you sleep before and after, that should help you tremendously. And because we are talking about heart disease, let us talk about sleep loss and cardiovascular system. And all it takes is 1 hour. A global experiment performed on 1.6 billion people across 70 countries twice a year, and it is called daylight saving time. In spring, you lose 1 hour of sleep, and we see a subsequent 24% increase in heart attacks the following day. In the autumn, we gain an hour, and we see a 21% reduction in heart attacks. Isn't that incredible? And it is the same with road accidents, car crashes, and even suicides. So we have also the immune system, which our natural killer cell activity that fights cancer, can drop by 70% if your sleep is restricted to 4 hours or one single night. And therefore, few important things about sleep, and then we shall try to end it up. Go to bed when you are sleepy. The analogy is you don't go to a dining table, sit over there, wait to get hungry to eat. So why should you be waiting to get sleepy? Only use the bed for sleep and intimate relations. No distractions. No screens at all. No laptops, no TVs, nothing. No distractions. If you can't fall asleep within 15 to 20 minutes, get out, go, read a book, listen to music, do some meditation, fall sleepy, come back. Sleep and get up at the same time. Keep an alarm, not to go to sleep, but not to get up, but when to go to sleep. And if you think that you're sleeping on weekends for longer periods of time is going to help you for the loss of sleep on weekdays, you're sadly mistaken. Power naps are good, but earlier during the afternoon. Keep the room cool, 65 degrees. Your body needs to drop its core temperature by 2 or 3 degrees to initiate sleep. So have a hot shower, and then cool down and go off to sleep. These are a few things about sleep. Everybody knows about stress, your chronic stress that can lead your cortisol levels. You start eating more, you get more depressed. And most important, the 4 Ds for chronic stress: death, divorce, disease, and death. You can do meditation, yoga, mindfulness, spirituality, abusive substances. One word on alcohol. If you are drinking for health benefits, glass of wine, forget it. It does no good, period. But if you're going to toast on a wedding day or somebody's anniversary, I'm not being a judge, you can do that. And finally, you come across street drugs, social support. This is very important. People with robust social support tend to adopt healthier lifestyles, including engaging in regular physical activity, eating a balanced diet, avoiding harmful habits like smoking, largely because they have a support network encouraging and modeling such behaviors without being judgmental. And with that, my dears, I'm going to end up by saying laughter is the best medicine. Laugh loud, love lots, live limitless, exercise enough, forgive and forget, and be compassionate and gratitude. Thank you very much.
Akil, that was absolutely awesome. And we are going to get started. We only have a few minutes for questions, so please put them in the chat box. The first one, we have a two-parter. Can AFib be cured through a whole food plant-based diet? And can I get off my blood thinners?
The short answer is no. It is a conduction defect. It's like an accessory pathway in my heart, which is also causing extra beats at times. This, anything that you have, whole food will help. But if you want to reverse it, that is not the thing. It will flip. And I think you should be on blood thinners and baby aspirin if need be, and other blood thinners for this.
The next one is there's been a lot of talk about microplastics in our bodies now appearing in various organs. They are even seeing microplastics during heart procedures. Can these microplastics affect your heart?
Yes, it can. It can affect the arteries that lead to the heart. Your coronary arteries, your brain arteries getting you strokes, your kidney arteries getting you kidney failure. And microplastics has now come out right up front. And it is something that we know not too much about right now. But for me, do not heat your things in a plastic container. If you got the plastic container in your refrigerator, take that and put it into a glass container and heat your food. Number two, these little things that you use for coffee pods, plastic ones, stop using that. Number three is unless you're absolutely sure, uh, if you are eating fish, I recommend no eating meat, period. But even if that is a lot of plastics in this, a lot of plastics in your beef, in your pork, because these are found everywhere, and they're so small, nanoparticles that you do not feel that you're eating that. But for example, toothpaste, we don't know. It's a big issue. So try to stay as far as possible. What else can we do? We can't do anything else. But if you keep on with fruits and vegetables and whole foods, less likely to get plastics.
Akil, did you just say those K cups that we make coffee, get rid of those?
Because of plastic.
Wrong response, Akil. Wrong.
Because you can think about it when you don't heat something in a plastic in a microwave,
Right,
would you let the coffee come out through a pod which is plastic?
right. Okay. But even the coffee pot, the coffee makers are plastic too. So we got to really rethink our coffee.
Well, just remember to make Lebanese coffee.
Yes.
Okay,
In
we'll
your
have to have a class on that. Okay, by what mechanism does COVID cause high blood pressure? How do we correct? And can that still be damaging to our heart?
Yeah. What COVID can do is harden your arteries so that you have basically blood pressure is your cardiac output and the resistance by your arteries. So when you have these hardened arteries because of COVID, it can cause high blood pressure. Now, there I don't believe that it can be a whole food plant-based can safely alter this. There's no doubt in my mind. I also believe very strongly that if you do a whole food plant-based diet uh, uh, very religiously, then I think your long COVID can also be uh, in the back burner. That's my firm belief.
Okay.
And so you can get hardened arteries, and that is the cause of your blood pressure.
Okay, last question. Recommendations for magnesium and vitamin D supplements.
Yeah. Vitamin D supplements, you can first test your vitamin D. And even if it's normal, I've never seen anybody having vitamin D toxicity in my 50 years of practice. So
Okay.
you can always have 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000, depending on what you are at the moment. Magnesium, recently I was doing some research on magnesium, and I found that it has got melatonin also, and it has got antioxidants. Plus, it helps, along with potassium, your high blood pressure.
Mhm. Okay, so that's good. So any like 300 milligrams of magnesium or, and what
I
kind of
take
magnesium would you
246
say?
magnesium that I am taking every day. So I think it is some 240 some odd milligrams. I'm not sure. I'll check up
Mhm.
and send you a text.
What is the harm in too much magnesium?
I don't know if there is any harm that comes to my mind right now, but why unnecessarily take anything in excess?
Okay. And any specific type of magnesium? And that is your last question.
Uh, Not really, but I have got shares in Costco, so buy Costco. I'm kidding. No, buy any magnesium, but go to a good health store and buy it.
Okay, okay. Akil, this has been so tremendous. And I am going to, let's see, how am I going to do this?
It's
I'm going to
been
be here for
awesome.
I'm going to be here for a while, for at least another half an hour or so.
Okay, great. Because we have to really cram a lot in the next hour. But I do want to, I hope you can stay the whole time, Akil. If you can, I do understand. But we've got an exciting cooking demonstration coming on. And just one more thing, I said at the beginning that um, Akil was so inspirational. And I hope that you got inspired by his presentation. Follow lifestyle medicine. I have fallen in love with lifestyle medicine. I got certified in that. And so I absolutely love it. And I try to show that to all people. But also, I hope Olga was inspirational to you as well. I was totally shocked by her. How old did you say she was? 95 years old?
And she died at 95, but by that
Oh,
time she had got hundreds of medals, and she participated in every sport: running, jumping, high jump, broad jump, everything. 5K, 10Ks.
well, that should put us all on notice that we need to go out and step out of our comfort zone and go for it, right? Okay, so here we are going to get started. Thank you once again, Akil. You are absolutely fabulous. And you can see some comments in the chat box. Okay, so we are ready. If my cameraman can get me zoomed in right. So you should have received your recipes. We are going to be doing lemon berry pancakes, blueberry compote to go on top, and then also irresistible white bean dip. Now, this is kind of the beginning because I hear from so many people, what do I have for breakfast? And I promise you, that is a big question. And not everybody likes oatmeal. I personally love it and I personally eat it on a daily basis, but not everybody does. However, we do know that oatmeal is going to help reduce your cholesterol, right? And we know from Akil's presentation that, yes, cholesterol is very important. And if we can help get rid of some of that LDL, the bad stuff, then we are going to be much better in the long run. So we are going to start with the blueberry compote because it is going to be on the stove cooking. Let me turn on the light so y'all can see it back there. But it's going to be on the stove while we prepare other things. And this recipe is very, very easy. It calls for 2 cups of frozen or fresh blueberries. And I chose the frozen ones. And very, very simple. I'm adding them to my pan. And I must say that I am using Salad Master cookware because Salad Master is a corporate sponsor of our Food for Life classes. And so all of the cookware that I use is Salad Master, and it has been for the last 42 years. Okay, so I have my blueberries in there. I also see that I need to have some cinnamon. And so I'm going to sprinkle the cinnamon on top. I did get a question. Also, it calls for 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. So I'm going to put my lemon juice in there. I did get a question because many people follow Dr. Esselstyn. And the question was that that Dr. Esselstyn doesn't necessarily recommend having maple syrup. And this recipe called for 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. So instead, I am using apple juice. Now I am going to open it up to everybody. If you are not muted, I'm just going to ask you, what would you use in place of maple syrup to make this blueberry compote sweet? Sweeter, I should say, because your blueberries are sweet. But anybody, maybe put it in the chat box if you want. Okay, this is audience participation. Dates, okay. So Laura said dates.
Date syrup, Debbie.
Oh, date
Cheryl,
syrup. Okay.
Sherry Taylor mentioned that, date syrup.
Okay. Is there anything else we could use?
Agave, Hope mentioned agave syrup and agave.
Okay, well, agave may be right there with
Maple.
the maple syrup, yeah. But anyway, I had also thought beyond the apple juice, you could shred apples and, and add not a whole lot, but shred some apples. And I'm talking about really shredding them and making it real fine and then having like a blueberry apple compote. But remember this, most people are putting on their pancakes something very similar to artificial maple syrup, such as I don't know even if it's even called Aunt Jemima anymore, but that's what I was raised on, was the Aunt Jemima. Is that still around?
It is, yes.
Okay, by the same name.
Yes.
Okay, so anyway, that was what I was raised on, and that's all high fructose corn syrup. So even going from that, where people are used to that such a high concentration of sugar, to something that only has 2 tablespoons of maple syrup, it is a very big leap. But for those people who have been on a whole food plant-based diet much longer, then you may not even need maple syrup. You may just need a little bit of water added to that, but that is your choice. Okay. So
And there are a couple other suggestions, coconut syrup or OJ. Michelle mentioned that. And
okay,
unsweetened applesauce.
very good. Yes. Okay. Um, what does that say from Rochelle? I can't read it.
Lucky folks like me who have heart disease, Dr. Esselstyn doesn't let us eat dates or any other sweetener, such as agave, and unsweetened applesauce sounds good. Sounds like that would work.
Yeah, or the fresh shredded apples, because I will put fresh shredded apples in my salad master and it will make a wonderful, wonderful applesauce. And it's very, very delicious. The
Dr. Akil recommends raisins.
raisins would help too, exactly. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do, while the apples or while the blueberries are cooking, because they do have to require a little cooking. Excuse me, but I have been under the weather, so I need a cough drop just to make it through this talking. So the next thing that we are going to be doing are lemon blueberry pancakes. I will tell you, when I was growing up, on Sundays, my grandmother would make us blueberry pancakes, and they were absolutely delicious. If you've ever made anything with berries, adding lemon to it is just going to give it another burst of flavor. So I do recommend always having that lemon. We also know that it is very good for you as far as vitamin C goes, because you can add a squirt of lemon every time that you have a glass of water, and you can really increase your vitamin C. And ladies who do not want to age, that vitamin C is going to help your skin, and it's going to make you beautiful all the time. So in here, because I knew I would be a little short on time, I have my oat flour, and the oat flour is, and I just remembered, I forgot something. So the oat flour is very easy to make. You can buy it already processed, but if you don't want to spend the extra money, just get your regular old-fashioned oats, and you want to put them in the food processor or put them in your blender, put it on high, and for every cup of oats that you need, or oat flour, you would need 1¼ cups of old-fashioned oats. And remember, you want the old-fashioned oats. Okay, so this has, this is very, very simple. We have our oatmeal in here, or our oat flour. And I did put the rolled oats, because this recipe calls for 2 cups of oat flour plus 2 tablespoons. So 1/3 cup of rolled oats. So I have those in here. And then ground chia seeds. I actually use white chia seeds because, this is light. And I just figured the dark chia seeds would be like little specks of pepper in there. So, and maybe it won't show up because of the blueberries, but I didn't want to take a chance. So I used the white chia seeds and I ground them in my coffee grinder, and they were perfect.
You certainly wouldn't want it to look like mealy bugs. I'm sorry.
And that is a personal family joke. But you wouldn't want it to look like that anyway. Okay, so I am going to add 1 cup. Now I split this in 2 because everything could be divided evenly. So I'm only doing 1 cup plus 1 tablespoon of oat flour. And that means I only use 1 cup of milk. And I am going to, also, I am going to be adding my lemon juice and the lemon zest. Never underestimate the power of lemon zest. One, the smell is just incredible, but it is going to give your pancakes just the best flavor. And once again, anytime you have those berries, you want to make sure that you have some lemon juice there. So I'm going to give this a stir. And just realize how easy this is.
Debbie, do
Uh-huh.
you have to use a vanilla non-dairy? Can you just use the no flavors?
I would say you can, because it's going to have
Would you add
flavor to it.
would you add vanilla? When I make pancakes, I normally add vanilla or almond or
I don't think you need that, Laura, with the lemon juice.
okay.
I think you're good.
Okay. And if I flake my own oatmeal, and my husband says that he has to adjust the regular recipe because it's, the flaked oatmeal that I flake is from oat groats. So it's like, I think a little thicker. Would you maybe just use a little bit less on the oat flour? Would that,
Yeah, you know what? I've never done that, but I thought about that. So how do you flake your own?
I have a flaker. I actually have a flaker that goes on my DLX machine. And
Really?
it's you put it in the top in a funnel and it comes out and it's flaked, it's rolled. It's really cool.
Have to come visit you sometime.
Yes.
Check that out.
Come
I
visit.
know we've talked about that, but we're going to have to do that again. Okay, so now I'm adding my blueberries. And I was a little bit concerned when I first started doing this because it looked just a little bit soupy. And I have not tried this recipe. Usually I do before I cook it, but I just haven't had the opportunity. So next, I am using our electric oil course skillet. And I know my Esselstyn group doesn't want to hear this, but what I did is I sprayed a little bit of Pam on, because this is stainless steel on the inside. And I do not use Teflon pans because of the PFOAs that they produce. So I put a little bit of Pam on here and just wiped it. There's no oil showing on here, but I wanted to be 100% truthful to you. And so now I'm going to do my pancakes, and let me make a couple of them here. And I hear my blueberries back behind me. I want to turn those down some. And Mr. Cameraman, can you get a picture here of this? Does everybody like pancakes?
Oh, yeah.
I love pancakes.
So we have these going. Okay, so I am going to just cover that up just for a minute. And so I want to ask, how many make pancakes? You can put it in the chat box. How many make pancakes on a regular basis? And Trooper, I'm going to let you tell me.
Okay, we have one every week. Laura makes
Nice.
them every week. And someone loves that.
So y'all don't do it too often.
Well, I thought, when you're used to putting syrup on them and you don't use syrup, I don't know. It's just something you overcome when you adapt the
Yeah,
Esselstyn way
it
of
is
eating.
something you do adapt.
Yes.
I am looking at this, and the way you know when to flip your pancakes is when you start having little holes show up. And I will tell our cameraman to zoom in when I start seeing some holes, but I'm keeping the heat in here for right now. Now, this recipe says that you can use any type of berries. And I'm going to be sending y'all a follow-up tomorrow, of course, with your survey link to take, for my class, the class survey. But anyway, I'm going to be sending a video from Dr. Greger, and he really talks about the benefits of berries, specifically blueberries, for your heart health. And then next month, if you join me for our brain class, you're going to hear about the benefits of berries for not only our heart health, but also our brain health. We got to take care of both of them. And you really do take care of both of them kind of the same way. So I'm not seeing any bubbles, but I want to make sure these aren't burning. Okay, they're not burning.
What temperature are you cooking them at, Deb?
Well, I'm turning it up to 350. I started on 300, and it's just a little bit slow. Any questions about this?
I don't know. They just sound delicious, Debbie.
I know.
What if you were to take oat groats and not completely grind them up, mostly, but not 100%, so that you get a little crunchiness in there?
Uh-huh. Well, Hope, I know you like crunchy, but I can't say that I enjoy crunchy that much.
I think that the oat groats would not be cooked enough in the amount of time it takes to cook the pancake. But
Oh, yeah, I didn't think of that.
you could pre-cook a little bit of oat groats, pre-cook them a little bit. That would work, but just as a matter of course, I don't think they would be cooked enough because the pancakes cook so quickly.
Except these don't seem to be cooking too quickly. And I'm breaking them up, so I better stop now.
Debbie, is there something wrong? I use a ceramic griddle that I use absolutely no oil on.
Okay.
And I use a metal spatula. Is there anything wrong with that? Because I have to cook so much. I have to make double recipes every week and freeze them because, I don't have any time with traveling.
You know what? Ceramic, I don't know enough about it, to tell
Okay.
you the truth, Laura.
Okay.
And we had a discussion on another class, and it was a PCRM class, and we really started talking about parchment paper, and how parchment paper actually has PFOAs in it, and I was so shocked. So
Mm.
I'm not that familiar, and I'm going to
Okay.
ask the class, does anybody know about because this is a great class. A great group of people. Does anybody know about the ceramic cookware? And
I,
is it good, or does it have some chemicals that it's leaching?
Isn't that what Jane Esselstyn used, Deb, when she was here?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I think she had
oh
ceramic.
yes, that giveaway that she gave. I remember
Yeah,
that. Okay. Well, that makes me feel better. But mine's an actual griddle. I can cook 8 pancakes at a time.
Okay, I'm flipping,
It's 2 minutes on
but
each
they're
side.
still not brown enough. But I did flip.
Debbie, what temperature is your skillet on?
It's at 350 right now. I
Okay.
started at 300 though.
It needs to be a little hotter for
Oh, does
pancakes.
it? Is that my issue?
Yes, yes. And that's because you don't have any eggs or real milk or anything that would go bad or burn, you know what I mean? So
Uh-huh.
you can cook it at a higher temperature.
Okay. So they almost look anemic because they're not brown enough. Maybe the black chia seeds would have added some color. Boy,
They
how
look,
silly am
they
I?
look beautiful.
But anyway, they are getting cooked, and my compote, yeah, I have it uncovered, and it has not gotten cooked down, so it's going to have to continue cooking. I'm going to keep the lid off.
is it going to be thick, Deb? Is that what you're looking
I think
for?
it's supposed to be thicker, yes.
Thicker? Okay.
Simmer, well, let's see. Yeah, I think it may be 20 minutes, so I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to put 2 more of these pancakes in. And in the meantime, while these cook, I am going to start our bean dip because I want to make sure that we have enough time for everything. Okay? Does that sound kosher to everybody?
Yes. Debbie, while you're doing that, one of the things I've noticed is I have real issues with when a recipe says to add baking soda and baking powder, to your flour, and you sift it all together and you think you got it mixed well and you get it all put together and you take a bite of something and it tastes all salty. How do you keep that from happening?
Sifting it is going to help a whole lot, Hope. You know, and it's hard to sift with oatmeal because your sifter isn't that big. But sifting, some of us have gotten out of the habit of sifting, but that is one way of solving that issue.
I stirred it all together. I sifted it all. I actually sifted it twice,
Oh,
and it's very frustrating because it makes me want to throw it all out.
Well, don't do that.
and that's just from adding baking powder or
Well, it's because the baking powder doesn't get 100% mixed, incorporated into
do,
the flour.
do you use a whip? I mean, a whisk. I use a whisk and after I've, done it, I've done a whisk firsthand just to get it more spread around before sifting.
I hadn't thought of that, but I could. Yeah, that's an idea.
Okay, folks.
Thank you. I'll try that.
So our next recipe, while all of our blueberries are cooking here, our next recipe is going to be for a bean dip. And this is called the Irresistible White Bean Dip. And it is very, very good, very irresistible. And when you're using a high-speed blender, it always is nice to add the liquid on the bottom. And this liquid is going to be lemon juice. So all of our recipes have lemon in them. And once again, it is just lemon and lime will add so much flavor to your foods. So, even as a topping, once your dish is done, even if it's bowl of soup, squeeze lemon on top. You know how we do that with our broccoli, we can squeeze the lemon. You can squeeze lemon on your salad and it's going to really enhance the nutritional value. So give that a try. In place of the maple syrup, which I have never heard of adding maple syrup to a white bean dip, I'm going to use the apple juice once again, especially since I had opened the container. This also calls for nutritional yeast and black salt. So I didn't know if y'all were familiar with black salt. I know I've talked about it before in classes, but it's called Indian salt. Casey, if you can zoom in on that. So it's called India's black salt, and this gives it a little egg flavor. So if you're making the no egg salad sandwiches, this is going to add to that. Or, oh, I think I smell our pancakes. I turned it up, so probably it's going to burn on me. No, but I'm going to flip it. Well, it may be a little bit browner. Okay, we'll let those cook. Okay, so back to our bean dip. Sorry for going back and forth, but that's what happens. Okay, so far we have our lemon juice in here. We have the apple juice in place of the maple syrup. We also have water added to that. We may have to add a little bit more. And then we also have a clove of garlic and miso. And if you are not familiar with miso, here is a container. This is white miso. And if you've never tried miso before, this is a fermented soybean paste. It is very salty, just to give you a heads up. So a little bit goes a long way. The white miso is actually the mildest of them, of all of the misos, and they get stronger and stronger the darker they are. Okay, so I have my 1 pod of garlic, and I also have my miso that I'm adding. And then I'm adding my beans. Okay, and I am going to give y'all the opportunity to talk because I'm going to be blending this and I'm going to mute because I don't want y'all to have all of the noise. Okay, but Linda, Hope, Laura, I know y'all are all very good at talking, so I'm going to let y'all do some talking, okay? About the class though, right?
Too funny.
What are PFAs?
Those are plastics.
These are harmful chemicals that come out from the substance you're using. So there are PFA, OA, and PFAs too. So I think ceramic has less of these than the other ones, but I'm not sure because I'm using ceramic.
Okay.
I wanted to ask Debbie about the conversation she was having with her Food for Life classes about silicone. You don't find a lot on the internet, and of course, they always assure you that they're safe. But anybody have any thoughts on silicone baking pans?
As far as I can tell, it's still the safest thing to do between the silicone and the parchment paper. That's kind of what I
Yeah.
bake everything in.
Yeah. Well, I spent a good deal of time looking and I didn't find a lot on silicone. And of course, you never, what is it they say? Beware of what you find on the internet. So,
Mhm. Yeah.
Probably,
so
yes.
yeah, but anyway, there didn't seem to be any studies out there that I could locate. So everything was, they assured us that they were completely safe. Up to, I think the temperature was 400 and below 450. You shouldn't use it any hotter than that.
Yeah, the silicone things that I have seen have had that they're good up to 500 degrees, but
Uh-huh.
always thinking going lower. I personally don't use silicone except for making like a ice cube, special flavored ice cubes, or for freezing lemon juice, because
Uh-huh.
I figure as long as it doesn't get hot, then,
Yeah.
and I'm not trying to mix in it or anything.
Yeah, I'm kind of like that too. Or
Yeah.
I'll use some plastic for cold things, but nothing hot ever.
Yeah, no.
Is there something wrong to use? Because I have been using silicone for my blueberry muffins that I use it in the oven. And
I
if it, I mean, I'm learning something. So if something, I wouldn't want to use it.
Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with it, as far as we know, because silicone hasn't been out for years and years and years. But a lot of professional chefs and a lot of whole food plant-based chefs use it. So I would think it's okay. And it's not like you're using it every single day and cooking every piece of meal that you eat in it. So
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay, folks. So let's see. I don't know if y'all can see this. My pancakes are done. And my white bean dip is yummy. And
What blender did you use?
I use a Blend Tech, and it is a 3 horsepower. What I like about the Blend Tech, so it has and I shouldn't say this. Maybe I will, no, I want to say it like it is. Okay, so see how the Blend Tech jar is all square? It's so easy, and I use this wonderful Pampered Chef scraper, and I'm able to clean the whole jar very easily. I do have the what's the other one?
Vitamix,
The
Vitamix.
Vitamix, but the jar of the Vitamix has all of these fluted sides. It's round, but there's a lot of flutes in there, and it's so hard to clean. This one is so easy to clean, and you can get everything out. And I will be getting all of this out before the night is over. But anyway, I wanted to show y'all my beautiful board here. So I have my dip, my white bean dip that I just prepared. It was very easy. I am adding some tomatoes, and think about this, because I believe I said in my email that it is very easy to have snack foods. And we all know that the first thing that we see, if it's attractive, we are going to want it. So, the first way of beginning to eat is eating with our eyes. So check out this beautiful board. It is a party board, but you don't have to do a party board every time you make this white dip. But over here, I have some homemade sourdough bread, and this is actually a dark rye sourdough bread. I have my celery, my carrots. I chopped them all up in a different way. Red pepper. I have a flour over here made from the celery, and then I have tomatoes. And so once again, all I'm trying to do is make it more appealing, so that when our friends come over, they look at this and say, wow, what a beautiful, beautiful board. And it's so easy to put together. Do you agree?
Yeah, that's beautiful, Debbie.
Gorgeous, yes.
Whoops, my tomatoes are escaping. My husband's trying to get a picture. You got it?
Yeah.
Okay, good deal.
Yeah, while you were just real quick, while you were mixing the dip, the topic of silicone baking utensils came up. Was there any discussion in your group about silicone?
Yes, so far it is safe.
Okay,
Okay.
that's
And as far as the parchment paper goes, do not get the white parchment paper, get the ones, and there is supposed to be parchment paper that says no PFOAs.
okay.
So I actually looked at mine, unfortunately, because I guess the ones that are bleached have the
Yes.
PFOAs. Unfortunately, the one I use is bleached. It has the it does not say no PFOAs. So check that out. Okay, so here are my pancakes, and
Ooh.
there is my blueberry compote. I recall once again my grandmother and those blueberry pancakes that she made because they came from a box, but God love her, she made those every Sunday. And there was a can of wild blueberries, and she would make this blueberry syrup, and it was just so delicious. And so this brought back a lot of memories as I was typing up this recipe for everybody. So anyway,
It's,
you got it?
it's
Okay.
beautiful.
Any questions on the recipes?
You made me very hungry. I'm going down for
Oh, good. That's what I want to do. That's my job, is to make everybody hungry. This
What was
okay.
that thing about Dr. Akil?
Well, Len was putting something in there and I didn't see it fast enough.
These look so great. I am
Oh,
so inspired. Thank you.
you are welcome, and I hope you got the recipes, right?
I did not get the recipes, I don't think.
You should
Um,
have, well, you
with
should
the
have,
Eventbrite
but
register.
I will make sure that you get the recipes, Len.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But you must have also been inspiring Dr. Akil over the last few years because he has launched his Shop and Cook with the Doc broadcast, where he
Awesome.
actually goes and he has a recipe or a meal, and he shops for the ingredients, and then he goes in his kitchen and he cooks up the dishes. And so
Awesome.
he's having one coming up next week. Um, his 18 bean soup and quinoa salad. And you've got the link right there. And then he still is doing his monthly talk with the doc. And this time it's going to be on women, what heart disease means for women and for men. And
Okay.
so all are welcome to that. Both are free. And he's doing these once a month. So if you go to the links and you sign up, you'll get his email reminders. And please join him and share with others. We'd love to have you. But this was excellent. I'm so glad I was able to join you tonight. Thank you.
Lynn, if you send me that in an email, I will make sure that it's a link, a hyperlink in the follow-up email. Okay,
Awesome.
so
Thank
I will
you.
add both of those
But-
because I have attended many of Akil's monthlies and they're very good.
but
And you know, the one thing that I like about those 18 bean soups, or 15 bean soups, there are 3 different rules of thumb. Brenda Davis says that we need to have 30 different fruits, vegetables, or plants in our diet every week. Will Boltzowitz says that we need 40. And then last year, when Dr. Greger came out with How Not to Age, he said that we need 50 and, to not age. And so when you have something that has 18 beans in it, you're already, almost there. So by golly. And then if you have a salad that has, one of those bag salads that has 7 different greens in it, look what you're already at 18 or at 25, so you're good shape. Okay, we
But
are,
you're like a gourmet chef. I am a simpleton, so I don't. I'm just going to make. I'm going to drop forks and glasses and everything else because this is what I am.
well, I look forward to seeing that, so I can't wait. So thanks for sharing that.